Hello, and welcome to the Core for Social Workers Core Evaluation Procedures Overview. Core has several different types of evaluations, so this overview will go over the procedures for each type of evaluation so that you can successfully help students in the classroom. The first type of evaluation is our Academy paper evaluation. Now, these evaluations are generally given out first before any online evaluations are offered. So we do ask that you end the class content at around 3:45 to allow at least 15 minutes for students to complete their end of class satisfaction surveys. Now, most core classes do have both the Academy paper evaluation and an online evaluation, but there are a few that only require the Academy paper evaluations. So I'll go over those in a second. Please note that the project code for each class is actually listed on the sign-in sheet for the class. So you can go ahead and glance at the sign-in sheet and write up the project code on a flip chart paper. And so everyone can see what the project code is, and then they can enter that into their paper evaluation and then complete the rest of the evaluation. So there are 4 different classes that only require this paper evaluation. There is no online evaluation, and that's because these classes were added to core specific to Northern Academy. So we, based on feedback from the counties, added these additional classes that are part of core in Northern California for Northern Academy only. They're not part of the statewide core package. Those classes are Introduction to Core, Child Development, the SOP Foundational Institute, and the Secondary Trauma Self-Care class. So those 4 classes only require this paper evaluation. There's also a demographic survey. Just so you know, this survey is offered the first day of class during Module 1 in the Introduction to Core class. And it's a survey that was developed by CalSWEC and really gathers information based on just general demographics to look at workforce for child welfare, helping with retention efforts, and just having a better understanding of what the workforce looks like. So the demographic survey gathers age, ethnicity, different demographics like that, educational experience, work experience, current position, caseload, and so forth. And we generally send out a report of the demographics for each cohort to all the instructors that are teaching for that cohort, just so you have an understanding of the demographics for the students you're going to be teaching. All right, so there is an evaluation packet that has some of these general information that's laminated, and they're in little booklets found in the general documents hanging file folder, which is the first hanging file folder in your class materials box. So if you're the first person teaching for a specific module, you'll get to the classroom and find these booklets, and please put one on each table. And these are really including all of the general information about the CalSWEC evaluations, which are all the online evaluations that we'll go over. The first page looks like this at the top, where it has the general CalSWEC letter that talks about informed consent to participate in research. It's voluntary for the students to participate in the research. However, we do ask that all participants actually complete the evaluations. Whatever they submit just will not be included in that research. Also included in this evaluation packet is the RTA site codes. Those are listed here on the screen as well. So for Northern, we have several codes depending on what location they're in. So if they were in Humboldt County, say it's in Eureka, that they would use NOR1 and so forth. They also have county codes in there. So depending on what county they're from, they'll enter their county code. It has some iPad instructions for students who use the iPads if they check them out. And also the classroom online evaluation procedures are also in that packet. Online evaluations. Again, there are this post-class evaluation survey that you'll see on the screen is included in all of the classes on our resource barn, except for those 4 classes I mentioned earlier that are specific to Northern. So, but for most of the classes, you'll see this post-class evaluation section that we've added, and the satisfaction survey is under that. So they'll click on the link and it'll take them directly to the survey. And that's located under the supplemental materials under each class. There are 3 different types of evaluations though. So you'll see for orientation class that there's only a satisfaction survey, but some of the other classes in modules 3 through 6 have some embedded evaluations. And then modules 8 through 10 have end of block evaluations. What you'll see here on the screen is that we have listed 3 different bit.ly links, which are shortened links to that they can just type into their web browser and it'll take them directly to that survey. So if they don't have their class materials page up on their device, they can just open up their web browser and type in these bit.ly links directly in there, and it'll take them directly to the evaluation that they're looking for. So, all right, so this is a satisfaction survey example. So what you'll see after they type in the bit.ly or select the link to the satisfaction survey, they're going to be asked what current position they're in. So here on the left, they'll enter either worker or TA, entering the data. Usually they're the worker. And then they will be asked if they want to, do you want to consent and participate in the research study? By clicking yes, you are consenting to participate in this study. So they can select yes or they can select no, but we still ask them to complete the survey. The next couple questions are the RTA code and their county code, and Regional Training Academy is Northern. So those 3 questions, again, in that evaluation laminated packet, will have all the codes they need. Then they will also use this cheat sheet to develop their unique ID code, which will follow them throughout core. So every evaluation they complete will ask for these items. So they'll definitely get familiar with what their unique ID code is, but this is the cheat sheet for it. The next question asks, is this a 100 or 200 level course? So they'll either select one of the 100 level courses, which are over here, modules 1 through 7, or the modules 8 through 10 are the 200 level courses. And those are all listed here on the screen. And then they'll go ahead and complete the remaining questions of the survey, and they'll be done. Now, the next type of evaluation is the online embedded evaluation. Again, this is for classes in modules 3 through 6. There's a few classes that have these. And you'll see the first 2 questions are the same. And the next set of questions are also the same. And then they will select which class they are working on for which embedded evaluation they want to open. So depending on if you're teaching trauma-informed practice, they'll select trauma-informed practice and go through the test. I'm sorry, the evaluation. So this screen shows some of the following handouts that are associated with the embedded evaluations. Some embedded evaluations have printed scenarios and instructor answer keys that are actually included in the class materials box. So if you are teaching STM Skills Lab, CMI Skills Lab, or writing behavioral objectives, you'll really want to pay attention to this. The other 3 classes listed do not have any handouts or a debrief activity. So for these 3 highlighted classes, there is a written evaluation scenario, 1 for each student, so you'll want to pass that out. And again, those are in your materials box. And they will read the scenario, and then they'll answer the questions on the online embedded evaluation. there's usually about 30 to 40 questions in those evals. So it does take about an hour, this activity. So you'll start at 3 o'clock and have them complete their evaluation. And then for these 3 classes in particular, there is a debrief activity. And so there will be an instructor answer key included in the class materials box. So look for that, and that will help you debrief the activity. Now, after the students submit their evaluation questions, there will be a screen that pops up that has all of their answers displayed, so that if they had any questions about any of the evaluation items, or they had anything they were struggling with, they can ask you, the instructor, and then you'll have that answer key. Now, when you're debriefing, you don't want to go through every single answer. That's not really the purpose of it. It's really just to talk about what were some challenging questions. So it should only take a few minutes. These other 3 questions, these other 3 classes, trauma-informed practice, ICWA, and legal procedures, are also often called post-knowledge tests. So that's why there's no answer key provided. There's no debrief activity. It's really just testing their knowledge. So again, this is an example for the SDM Skills Lab. So you'll see at the top, this is just multiple choice questions that they'll have, and they will have that written scenario about the Hernandez family in front of them so they can answer the questions. And then after they're done with all their questions, this second screen here on the bottom says, "Thank you for completing this evaluation. Your responses have been recorded, and this is the summary you'll need to participate in the debrief activity." So again, they'll have this window come up that shows all of the answers that they actually selected. So they can look back and see if there were any that they want to ask the instructor about for clarification. So the debrief instructions for these classes, again, pretty simple. You'll want to take about 15 minutes and do a think, pair, share activity. This is also included in the trainer's guide for each of these classes. So you can go ahead and just have the participants think about individually what were any issues they had with the evaluation. And then they can pair up and talk to other participants about that with pairs, or maybe at their table. And then you can have a large group discussion and use your answer key to answer any specific questions. Again, don't go over every single test question. You're not going to really have time for that, but just to kind of have that debrief and closure for the day and for the evaluation. Very similar process with the end of block evaluations, which are in modules 8 through 10. Please allow 1 hour, so you'll start at 3 o'clock. There will be 45 minutes for the evaluation and 15 minutes for the debrief. As you can see, this is the same screens in the beginning. And then these are the evaluations that below, or here on the left. That's what the name of the evaluation is when you pull up the evaluation. So there are some slight differences in the titles. The evaluation for foundation end of block is actually the trauma-informed practice and key issues in child welfare practice, knowledge and skill reinforcement lab. So that first class in module 8 is actually the foundation end of block. And so just be aware of those nuances, because people will ask, oh, which one are we doing? And you'll want to know that's the foundation one. The other ones are pretty intuitive with the names, engagement, assessment, case planning. This other one, monitoring, is actually the managing change. So that one is a little slightly different. And then transition is managing transitions. Again, you're going to have them do their end of block evaluations, and then they will have a chance to look at their answers that they submitted, and you'll do the debrief activity with your answer key as the instructor. Very similar to the embedded evaluations, but they do not have any written scenario. It's all within the evaluation, so there's no paper handouts for this class, besides the instructor answer key. All right, another issue we've seen come up is that workers, when they come back to select say they open up a satisfaction survey, but they didn't complete the satisfaction survey from their previous class, they may have issues with getting back to the beginning of the survey. It may take them back to where they left off last time or something like that. So, and they can either clear their cookies, clear their browsing history. A lot of people don't like doing that because they want to save their favorites and go back to where they were before. So there is a way to utilize private mode to actually, it basically sets up a new private window where they can then go in and enter that link in the web browser, and it'll clear the cookies and it'll be fine. But they'll still have their cookies or browsing history from in the regular mode. So this is just a little helpful tip that for Firefox in general, we're going to go through all three of the browsers, but for Firefox, it's these little lines at the very top right, and they're going to select new private window. And that should take them to a new window where they can then enter the bit.ly or select the satisfaction survey link and get to that and finish it. For Chrome, it's slightly different, but it's the top three little dots, and it'll say new incognito window. And then for Internet Explorer, it's a new in private window. So all slightly different depending on the web browser. All right, I hope this was helpful information. Please let us know if you have any questions. Your feedback is welcomed. We want to make sure you feel supported and have everything you need to have a successful classroom experience. Please let us know anything that's working well or any challenges or ideas you have about CORE. That could include curriculum issues, classroom logistics, scheduling, materials, and so forth. So we really, really value your feedback, and we thank you again for being such a wonderful part of CORE for Social Workers and supporting our new workers in the field. And here are the CORE contacts. So Tammy McCaleb, Caitlin Ash, and here is our general inbox if you have any general inquiries. I hope this was helpful. Have a great day. Thank you.